I'm Dana Healy, and you're listening to Cities Speak. Welcome back to City Speak. I'm really excited to introduce Nicole Joy Frethem, District 1 Ramsey County Commissioner. So prior to her governmental role, she's worked with Ramsey County for over a decade to ensure children has had high quality access to childcare and education as well. Her volunteerism includes Girl Scouts and watch court monitoring. Commissioner Frethem, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here with you.
So I'm really excited because I think it was last week, Ramsey County released the 51-page economic, competitive, and inclusion plan. So it highlighted things like housing, educational, and welfare disparities between white residents and colors of community. Can you educate us a little bit on this plan?
Sure. The premise behind it is as we look to ongoing disparities in health and outcomes for our communities of color and our BIPOC communities, the question for us is, are we really being effective in ensuring equity for everyone? Our vision and mission, our vision is a vibrant community where all are valued and thrive. And right now, those disparities indicate that all are not thriving for sure. And potentially it's because they aren't being valued equitably. So this plan is really about how do we set ourselves up for a future that is in line with our vision, and how do we look at the data to help us identify what the potential issues and solutions are. So this effort was a long effort, about 18 months we've been working on building this. So pre-COVID and certainly COVID in some ways slowed us down, but it also really emphasized the importance of a plan such as this to ensure that we are really doing everything we can to ensure every resident is fully supported in the community.
That's really interesting how COVID, I would say it kind of magnified with the findings of a lot within this report. So this report, you mentioned it was 18 months that went into the process, 26 community meetings, 30 interviews, 2,000 website visitors. What was that like? The building and the pulling the community in to really generate this information?
I think in all that we're doing here at Ramsey County, our emphasis has been how do we continue to partner with and, when possible, share power with the community. It is about trusting that our communities and our people really know what's best for them, and that although we are charged with making decisions and overseeing policy, we can't do that if we're only thinking about our lives from our own perspectives. So this effort and this ongoing engagement is critical, not only in this work, but in all that we do. But this really gave us an opportunity to push what engagement could look like to the limit. We're going above and beyond here. Like, we really want to hear and understand, and that we start with that listening and understanding versus other approaches. Previously in government engagement meant, well, we've built this plan and now we're going to share it with the community. This was, we need to start with the community, because our conception of what the problem may be and what the solutions may be may not align with theirs. And that approach that we've been using obviously doesn't work, because we still see communities struggling to achieve, equity and success. So that's where you say, all right, this isn't about us coming up with the solutions. It's about going to the community and listening to their solutions and articulations of the problem.
That's really valuable in leadership is to really listen, to listen, to gather, to convene. So I applaud Ramsey County for the role that they have taken in doing this. So the plan is beautiful. It's geographically like really interesting to read. Can you tell us like what went into that?
Yeah, well, so I mean, the plan itself, we have a small but mighty community and economic development team, and this work wouldn't have been possible without some amazing partners and contractors. And one of them was Fourth Economy, and they work to contract with three local artists with Springboard for the Arts to have them illustrate sections of the plan. And I think thinking through, how do we present information? I've shared our vision, but what I love about these illustrations is they show our vision in a way that a sentence can't capture. And so, our artists, Leah Jackson and Mayumi Park and Kuvu, we're just they create all these beautiful illustrations throughout that not only depict our vision and what we are working towards, but also some of the past actions that got us to where we are. I think it was Kuvu who created the illustration of the Rondo community and the construction of 94 and how devastating that was for that community and continues to impact the full economic use and potential for folks in that community.
That's great. So Ramsey County currently has a lack of affordable housing, which was evident throughout the report. And the report states that the county needs about 15,000 deeply affordable housing units to address the need of those most severely impacted by the lack of affordable housing. Can you, high level, outline what are some things that the county could propose to do to increase the availability of affordable homes in our area?
Absolutely. And I'll say this is more than just Ramsey County regionally. We're looking at a need for 50,000 units. So this and we don't want to view this as just within our borders. Obviously, that's all we can control, but this is really about regional partnership. And so that is partnering with other municipalities, partnering with our cities, partnering with other counties, but also private sector and nonprofit and foundation sector partnership. This is an all hands on deck situation. What we've done thus far this year in our budget for 2021, we were really thoughtful and said, you know what, we had presented a budget that we had provided tentative approval for. Then COVID hit, and as we went back, and obviously we felt, okay, we can't just go with this. Things have changed. We really need to reevaluate. But on top of that, we reevaluated our capital spending plan. Like, is it really necessary this year for us to take these capital dollars and make these golf course improvements when we know we've been spending millions of dollars to house the unsheltered population in a safe way? And that it was really, when I spoke earlier about how COVID, provided some clarity on the importance of this work. That is one way. And so we shifted some of our planned spending to start this work now without and we did it this year with a 0% property tax levy increase. But for us, it's about how do we make this effort sustainable, because this isn't a 1 year. 15,000 units is not a 1 year job, right? This is
Yeah.
this is ongoing. And we have a lot of opportunity right now. We have opportunity through the American Recovery Plan dollars that will allow us to apologies allow us to really make some big, bold investments in line with this plan. And then also potentially in proposed infrastructure plan. What's coming out of Washington, D.C. right now is is the closest we're going to get to as a generation for our own New Deal. And so, as we think about that, for us, first and foremost, is how do we do this in a way that's really going to give us our biggest bang for our buck, right? We want the most return on investment. And when we have communities and neighborhoods that have been underinvested in for decades, for generations, like that's where we're really going to move the needle.
Mhm.
So for us, that's what it's about. What we're doing this year is working in partnership and collaboration with existing methods. So we're looking for shovel-ready projects where our funding can really make the difference between go and to get things moving. So partnering with existing housing partners and being that gap financing there for us. So we've worked to, some of the projects we've approved is preservation of existing affordable housing, fixing units so that they can continue to house people safely and affordably, but then also construction of new housing. Currently, the project we invested in was at the former Ford site, so providing some additional funding there to get housing in that location. But there are more opportunities, and we want to be a partner in that, and to really and step up in a way that all the other counties around us already have, right? Every other county currently levies funds through their HRA that they can commit to affordable housing, and Ramsey County just hasn't done that. And not being not coming to that table really means that we are behind in how we implement strategies that will really help us achieve our vision.
Yeah, so thank you so much for that. So when is this slated to be adopted? It hasn't been approved just yet,
So
correct?
so yeah, the our vision and mission and our goals and strategies, those are all adopted by the board. This plan is a way to implement that. So there won't be a formal adoption, but we have in our workshop last week just affirmed for our staff, like, yes, we see this as moving forward the goals and strategy, the goals that we have set in our vision and mission. And then now that we've indicated that this is in line with what we have already set and approved, now it's time for our staff to get down into the nitty gritty implementation details. So as they move forward with, okay, where do we invest these funds? How do we approve projects? This is that guiding document that helps make decisions, which was developed based on the guiding strategies and higher level policy we set. So it's not to the point where we have, here are the 10 next steps that we're going to take, like here are the 8 projects we're going to invest in that are going to do that. But it's a building down as we structure and create the framework to evaluate projects moving forward.
I think it's great. I'm really excited to learn, the rest of the building blocks for this process and the innovation around it. I think it's fabulous. Commissioner Fretham, thank you so much for your time and educating us on this and letting us know the great things that are coming out of Ramsey County. We really appreciate it. Is there anything you'd like to say to our residents?
No, that I'm really excited, and I worry sometimes that when we talk about something as big as you mentioned, it's a 51-page plan, and this is just the high level framework, that things get boiled down to like one talking point, right? Like, oh, you're increasing our taxes, but one, property taxes and a tax levy is a really complex thing to begin with. So you can say, okay, today, if nothing changes, this is how much your property would be assessed, right, for an additional tax levy. But the whole intent of these dollars is to expand and improve that tax base. When we improve the value of our communities, when we look at our land for redevelopment and redevelopment to its highest and best use, that means we're creating more properties and we're creating more wealth throughout the entire county, which shares and spreads that burden differently. right? If we had 1 million units and now we have 2 million, even if you increase taxes a little bit, everyone pays less. So for me, it's really about let's focuses right now on that big picture. And then when we get to the heart, when we started by talking about the disparities in outcomes that led us to saying we really need to look at this. How do we address that? Those disparities cost us a lot. They cost us a lot in increased healthcare costs, in increased criminal justice intervention costs. They cost us in mental health needs and support. They cost us in educational support. And addressing housing instability is very expensive. We've spent millions of dollars in the past year addressing that. And if people just had that stable housing and home ownership, that's dollars that can go elsewhere, including back in everyone's pockets. So looking at I want to make sure we're looking at this contextually in the big picture and what it offers us overall. And that's what I mean when I talk about bang for our buck and return on investment. This is about really thinking about where do we put our dollars that's going to pay back for us in the long run. And I really believe this is going to do it. And I think we have the data to back it up.
I think this is great. Really excited to learn more about it. So thank you so much, Commissioner Frethem. Appreciate your time coming out here and chatting with us about it.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thanks. So you've been watching City Speak. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Like, share, comment below. We will also link to the plan that we've been speaking about as well. So thank you all for watching. You've been listening to City Speak. If you've enjoyed this show, please like, comment, and share on social at 9 North Media.